This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 40 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. We would like to thank our sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products. Visit them online at kppusa.com. This is Chris Stafford in Lexington, Kentucky.
And I'm Debbie McDonald, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Debbie. How have you been since we last spoke?
Oh, very well, thank you. A bit busier than I'd like to be, but I guess that's okay.
I guess it's a good thing. Doing what you love, and, it really takes some beating, doesn't it? Not everybody gets the job satisfaction that we do,
Well, that's true. I mean, the one thing about it is it seems like, everything is dead for a part of the year, and then it's like, everything hits you. It's like you feel like you're going every single weekend to a horse show,
Well, I think the crazy thing these days now with dressage, with a lot of the disciplines, it's year-round, isn't it? You can be competing all the year round at this sport.
You really can, absolutely. I think you've got to find a balance and pick and choose so the horses don't get burned out in the process. But yes, and especially when you go to Europe, there's an opportunity every single weekend, I think.
Yes. So now, of course, your focus is obviously in California. Where have you been since? Did you go to Thermal since we last spoke?
Yes, we did do Thermal, and then this weekend there's a horse show in LA, and we're kind of splitting up the horses a little bit now. So it's not we have to take a different group every time because then otherwise some get left out, and so we kind of trying to make a balance here. So
right.
We have a different group going a little bit.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're keeping busy. We've got a great show this week, Debbie, as I was able to catch up with Anky van Grunsven. She was heading to the Gothenburg World Cup qualifier this weekend. Obviously, that's an important final round of qualifiers for the Western European League, and it was great to catch up with her because she hasn't been on the show before, so it was time to get her on as guest. So looking forward to sharing that conversation with everyone this week.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good show lineup, I think.
Absolutely, and quite a bit of news. As I mentioned, the competitions are everywhere right now, and not least of all in Europe. It was Neumünster CDI just last weekend, and not surprisingly, Tortillas did it again. Edward Gall and Morlands Tortillas, 87.6, Deb, winning that freestyle.
Oh my gosh, this horse just never ceases to amaze us.
It really does, and great to see Adelind Cornelissen again with Jerrick Parsival. He's now Jerrick Parsival, not just Parsival. As you know, the change in the ownership there, so she retains the ride on that horse and the ownership shared with Jerrick. So she had a very comfortable second place there behind Edward on 82.5. Those two were just going neck and neck. I mean, it's all about the Dutch, isn't it, right now? I know there's 5 of them.
They are strong. They are strong. They are definitely the horses right now.
They really are, and there's 5 of them in the top 5 riders in the Western European League for the World Cup are Dutch riders.
Wow.
They're totally dominating. But the Germans not to be outdone in Neumünster on their home turf there. Isabel Worth finished third with Vorumnicht on 81.4. So an important result too for Isabel as she gets back into into a rhythm. I think it takes a while after you've been sidelined, with pregnancy and that kind of thing, doesn't it, to get back in the swing of it and find your rhythm.
Absolutely. I think she's gotten in it much faster than I did. So good for her.
Yeah, good for her, absolutely. So that was Neumünster, the CDI freestyle results from last weekend. And some other news from Europe. And this is very interesting to watch how this has developed. There has been a new a European association formed called the European Equestrian Federation. This new body was established on February 18th by 27 European national federations. They met at Warendorf in Germany, and that meeting was chaired by Germany's Dr. Hamfred Haring. The process commenced at a meeting of European national federations in Deauville, France in March 2009 and was agreed in principle in Antwerp in September 2009. Her Royal Highness Princess Isles said the FEI welcomes this development. Like the regional associations already established in Asia and the Americas, this reflects the natural evolution of representation of the sport's interests at the regional level, and we expect it to help address the numerous specific needs of European national federations. So that's an interesting layer, isn't it, Deb, between the national federations and the international federation?
Yes, absolutely. Very, very interesting stuff.
So we will watch that with interest. And also the FEI announced the composition of a working group to form guidelines for the stewards. And the composition of that working group is tasked with expanding the current guidelines to facilitate clear implementation of the policy on warm-up techniques, following on from last week's roundtable conference on hyperflexion, or rollcore, which has been finalised on February 18th. The working group will be chaired by Dressage Committee Chairman Frank Kemperman, of course, the show organiser of Aachen. The guidelines produced by the group will be communicated directly to stewards and also to riders and trainers. The working group is expected to put forward further proposals for the education of stewards to ensure that FEI rules are strictly adhered to and that the welfare of the horse is maintained at all times. So a lot of interesting moves here, Deb. I noticed one of the recommendations from the Rollcore meeting a couple of weeks ago is to introduce closed-circuit TV in the warm-up areas. And now, of course, educating the stewards, I think it's all part of these new features that are being put in place by the FEI.
Right. I think it's fabulous. I mean, I'm very excited to hear about all this, and it'll be interesting once they get it all in place, how well that the stewards are backed up. I know a lot of the times that anybody's ever stepped up to try to, talk in the welfare of the horse, that they've been shot down a little bit. So it's nice to know that the stewards can feel confident when they see something and have some backup.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it'll be very interesting. We did, of course, talk to Tron Asmir last week on last week's show to get the update after their meeting on the roll call debate and of course, these new measures that were being put in place. So we'll keep a close eye on those developments that are coming out of the FEI. Well, we're going to take a short break here, Deb, for a commercial, and then we'll be right back with our guest of the week, Anky van Grunsven. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a second.
Oversupplementation can be a problem, and not every horse needs a supplement, but when they do, you can count on Kentucky Performance Products to provide scientifically formulated, research-proven products that target specific challenges facing your dressage horses. Developed to complement, not compete with a balanced diet, KPP supplements will enhance the well-being of your horse. Kentucky Performance Products, helping you keep your horses healthy, sound, and competitive. Dressage horses sweat. As they sweat, horses lose water and vital electrolytes. Summer Games Plus Electrolyte Paste mimics the composition of equine sweat, supplying your horse with the exact amounts of electrolytes he needs. But what makes Summer Games Plus really unique is that it also contains Nalox antacid. Nalox protects your horse's stomach from the negative effects of stress. This extra protection is especially important for horses exposed to stressful situations such as competition, transportation, and unfamiliar stabling. Summer Games Plus is packaged in an easy-to-use syringe, making administration fast and accurate, especially at shows. So when your horse is on the go, keep him at the top of his game with dual-action Summer Games Plus Electrolyte Paste. brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, helping you keep your horses healthy, sound, and competitive. Visit them at kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Well, of course, Anky, it needs no introduction from either of us, does she, Debbie? I think if you know the sport of dressage, you certainly know the name of Anky van Grunsven. And she, of course, is busy campaigning her two horses, Painted Black and Salinero. Has two really good rides for the World Championship campaign this year, and in the meantime, though, she's heading off to Gothenburg this weekend to compete in the final World Cup Western European League qualifier. And as I mentioned earlier, Deb, there's 5 Dutch riders in those top 5 places, and at the moment Anky is lying in 5th place, and it's only the top 3 that will go forward to the World Cup finals in Hertogenbosch in Holland at the end of March. So it's all to play for, and really the Dutch are having things their own way right now, aren't they?
They really are, and boy, to not have Anky at the World Cup is, I can't remember the last one that she hasn't been to, so that's going to be quite a different scenario.
It really is changing complexion there, but it was very interesting to get her viewpoint on this and everything else that is a priority in her life right now, so let's take a listen to Anky. Anky, welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Dressage Radio Show.
Yeah, hi.
Nice to have you on. It was only a matter of time before we had you on the show to catch up with you and share what you're doing with our dressage audience. So lovely to have you on. I know it's a very busy time. As we record this show, you're about to head to Gothenburg, of course, for the World Cup qualifier. So obviously a very, very busy year with the World Cup and World Championships coming up. But I thought we would begin this time, Anky, since it's your first time on the show, just talking a little bit about your situation there, where you live and with your family, to create a picture for our audience. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I live in the south middle of Holland. It's approximately an hour and 15 minutes away from Amsterdam, because Holland is not that big. I have a really nice farmhouse where I live with my 2 little children. I have a boy that's 5 years old and a daughter that's almost 3 years old. And I just rebuilt my whole new barn. So I'm sitting in chef's office at this moment because mine is not ready yet. They have a complete new indoor and new stables with apartments, so people that come to train, that they can stay here, and also for readings and stuff like that. A lot of training because, I really like to ride my own horses, but I also love to train other people as well. And on the opposite of my barn, there's a jumping barn because my brothers are into jumping horses. So the whole family actually is into horses, so one way or the other.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Not many people hear so much about your brothers and what they do with jumping and how let's talk a little bit about your parents and the rest of your family and how you got started with horses and how that happened, how you went towards dressage and your brothers went towards jumping. Let's talk a little bit about that, Anky.
Yeah, I think my dad was the person that started it all, because he was really his hobby was horses. So when we were little, we all got a pony, and normally I took the ponies from my brothers because they are 4 and 5 years older than me. So every time they were too big for a pony, I had that one. And when I was little, I used to do jumping and dressage and even eventing with the ponies. And because my dad thought you have to do dressage to be a good rider, and the jumping, okay, if you like it, that's fine. So we did all of that. And then my first horse, Prisco, he was not a good jumper, and I insisted on having him, but then I figured out it's not a good jumper. So that's actually how I got involved in dressage. And my brothers, they think it's a bit boring. So they stuck with the jumping. They have a building company, but they have the horses sort of as a hobby. But at this moment, they have 2 horses international going with Jeroen Dubbeldam, and it could be that one is going to be in the team for the WEG as well. because they are in Holland doing quite well as well. One is named Whisper and one is named Simon. And so my brothers don't really ride them themselves anymore, but they really, they really enjoy having the horses and they're very interested.
That's interesting. What are your brothers' names, Anky?
Bilko is my oldest brother and Erik is my youngest brother. And they are both married. Their wives are doing dressage. Their children are jumping. So, yeah, it's the whole family thing.
It certainly is. It runs in the blood, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, that's exciting. So we could see dressage and jumping representatives from the family then.
Yeah, maybe.
How about that? Well, that's certainly a story, because I'm also starting the jumping radio show, so maybe we need to talk to them on the jumping radio show too.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Maybe you should.
Well, maybe we talk to them about dressage and we talk to you about reining and jumping. How about that?
Yeah, good plan.
Well, I want to also talk about your plans this year. Obviously a big year. We're midway through the Olympic cycle again, Anky, and you've been on this rotation for so many years now and understand obviously where the dynamics are when you're training your horses as what you focus on, whether the World Cup finals and the major championship of that year. And as we said earlier, you're heading to Gothenburg this weekend.
Yeah.
A very important competition for you in terms of the standings. We've got top 5 riders in the World Cup standings now are all from the Netherlands, and you're currently lying in fifth place. So everything to play for. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I think we have a luxury problem in Holland at the moment. There's only allowed 3 people from one country in the finals. So that's going to be very tough because we have Edward with Totilas and Adelinde with Parsifal and Imke with Sunrise is doing really well. And I'm going this weekend to Göteborg with EPS Painted Black. And and then we'll see. I must say, I think I had a bit of a bad luck because in Lyon, my first competition, I did win with Salinero. But because there were not enough competitors, I didn't get the full 20 points that you normally get for a win.
Right.
So there was only 14, and that brings me a little bit back on the other ones. And then I wanted to go to the Frankfurt show with Painted Black, but then he had a fever, so I couldn't go there. And then I couldn't do Mechelen because he still had his medication in his blood because I was only 1 week in between. So, then for me, it's a bit harder this year to get qualified, I think. And, on the other hand, I've done so many that it's not a big deal if I'm not in. And I think for me, it's the most important thing this year is going to be the WEC in Kentucky anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, you've got the 2 horses at that level. Which ones would you favour for? Which one would you favour for WEC? Would it still be Salinero?
Yeah, I think it's a luxury position at this moment. And Salinero was in really good shape when I was in Wellington with him. So he likes America. That's a good thing. And and then we'll see. I think I have to see who's in the best shape around that time. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if something happens or goes wrong or a horse gets not fit or. So I think it's a luxury position to have to maybe able to qualify with.
Yeah, absolutely. A great position to be in. You mentioned Florida and, of course, the World Dressage Masters that you came over here and you won that very convincingly. That must have given you a good boost because it's a long way to travel, isn't it, to come? And I know there was lots of tweeting from you about how much you enjoyed the weather over here. You'd like to have stayed a bit longer.
The thing was, before I was there, I didn't even mind that it was so cold here. But since I'm back from Wellington, I think, spring has to come fast.
So that was a good run for you, obviously. Yeah, very, very happy with that performance.
Yeah, very happy. I didn't expect to be the winner at the end because, Ravel and Stefan were a very tough competition, of course. But Salinero was in a very, very good shape, and it just worked out all well. And it was really nice because it was, nice weather. We had a little bit of a holiday with the children and then the children and the horses and then it's always nice and relaxing, huh?
Yeah, really. And did you get to Disneyland while you were here with the children?
No, not this time. We did that last year.
Oh, okay.
No, but we had a day at the beach, and of course I had to ride Salinio, but then like it was in the evening or in the morning, and then you have the other half of the day off, so that was really nice.
Well, you mentioned that you very humbly said that you didn't expect to win this, and I want to just touch on the level of competition here, Anky. Of course, the standards of dressage are just going crazy these days, and with world records being broken, and it's great that, of course, they're all your fellow countrymen that are breaking the records. But the dynamics in international dressage are shifting, aren't they, a little bit now? I mean, we've got a lot more combinations over here in the US. The British are coming forward with some strong combinations too. And you've watched this now over your career. Do you enjoy watching for these new dynamics, and so that it's not always the same? It's good for the sport. It's good for competition to have these new dynamics. Who do you see as the main threats now to the hierarchy in international dressage?
Yeah, I think at the moment it's definitely the Dutch who are the strongest, with Totilas and Edwards and Parsifal with Adelinde. I think they're very strong. And Laura Bertelsheimer from England, she has a really good horse. So she's strong, and of course we never should forget Stefan with Ravel, Isabel Weert. She's always there and being a fighter. So I think it's many more, also much more very good horses at the moment.
Yes, and I think that's what's interesting, that those good horses are not just in Europe; they are around the world, aren't they now?
Yeah, but Ravel did come from Europe, actually.
Of course, yes, we give him.
I'm just teasing you. He comes from Holland, so we're proud of him as well.
Of course. But, as you said, Holland is in a very, very strong position. I mean, you just look at the World Cup standings, you look at the world records, you look at the European Championships. Yeah. It must give you a lot of confidence, because there's always been this rivalry between Germany and Holland for many, many years now. But we're looking at breaking out of that rivalry. Looks like you're going to have other countries that are going to be competing for the silver medal, not just the bronze medal, but the silver medal, right?
Yeah. It's very good for the sport. And, it's sad for Germany, because I think they had a couple of bad years now with a lot of political problems and, not such a strong team as normally. And, but then you see still, like in Holland, we're very strong now as well because of our breeding. If you see the Dutch horses, how they are bred, that's very strong. And I think all over the world, people are more, more into the sport, and the horses are getting better, and it's all growing, and it's only very positive, I think, for the sport.
Well, we certainly found out with the Dressage radio show, Anky, how popular this show has become so quickly, and how interactive and reactive and engaged our audiences around the world. We're in over 27 countries now, and I get a lot of feedback from the audience. So I think it's a sport of all the equestrian disciplines that just continues to grow. That's got to be exciting for you as one of the leading competitors.
It is definitely exciting, and it's a brilliant, nice sport. So why not, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Well, I also want to talk about another sport that we know you're very keen on, and that's reining. Tell us what you're doing these days with your reining horse.
I'm enjoying it a lot. It's really my big hobby at the moment, and I have a really nice horse. Visa Shining Walla is his name. And the competition season was not. That was stopped. It's going to start again now, so I'm going to look at which competitions I'm going to ride. But I really enjoy it, and it's my big hobby.
How much do you get to do of that a day with everything else that you have?
Yeah, it's just my one horse that I ride.
Okay.
So it's all dressage the whole day, training other people, riding my own horses, and then this little Visa Shining Walla, who's my little pony, we like to call him, because he's too funny and too cute. And for me, he's just one extra horse to ride.
So any ambitions, any competitive goals with the reining, Anky?
Yeah, I want to get better in it. Right. That's always my goal when I'm riding. I want to get better and improve myself in things, and that's the nice part about working with horses, that you can make together with your horse see how far you can come together as a team.
Do you have any competition ambitions with reining?
I'm going to compete, yes, because I think, at home I'm great, of course, as you understand. But competing is much more difficult. So I think, I'm going to compete them and see how it goes.
Good. Well, we'll follow that with interest, and I know you tweet that, you're on Facebook, you use all these new media tools, and you have an awful lot going on with your other business interests, Anky. Who manages all this for you? Because surely you don't have time to manage your clothing, your media productions, your education, your new media. There's an awful lot going on in Anky's world, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay, I'm very busy with my 2 children, my horses, and my teaching. But the clothing line, I'm involved in the new collection 2 times a year. So I'm really involved in what is it going to look like, which colors, which models, which materials. So I design 2 times a year together with a professional designer the clothing. But the products, when they're ready, the selling and the dealer, working with the dealers, we have people working for us to do that. Mm-hmm. The media things like Twitter and Facebook and Hives in Holland we have. I do that together with Liesbeth, who's my assistant. If I have time, I do it myself, and if I don't have time, she helps me on it because it's otherwise a lot of work. And then with the new education center, Chef does a lot in it. I do a lot in it because it's your thing. You cannot just make sure somebody else is taking care of that. You have to keep an eye on it. But we of course have people that help us with us, and I think with everything we have a very good team with people around us that help us with all these things. Otherwise, it's not possible to do.
Well, you manage all these other interests as well. But coming back to your children, obviously the nearest and dearest to 2 small people in your life, your son Yannick and daughter Eva. As you said, Yannick is coming 5, coming 6 in November, and Eva is coming 3 in just a couple of weeks, huh? Oh, next week. Yeah. So how do you spend your time with them? Are they in preschool or kindergarten? How does your day go with them?
Yeah, Yannick Jansen, he goes to school already from 9 in the morning till 4, and he comes in an hour in between. So I try to have lunch together with him, not for an hour, but for half an hour or so. And then or Chef or I take him to school or bring him home. And I have a really nice nanny helping us. And I have Ada, she's in school for 2.5 days, and for the rest she's still at home. But I try to keep my working days from 9 till 4. Then spend my time with my children until they're in bed around 7:38, and then afterwards I still have time to do my emails and my bookkeeping and things like that you can do from the office.
Right. Well, Yannick, of course, is old enough to be on a pony. Does he have much interest at this stage?
Yeah, once in a while he wants to be a cowboy, and they both sit with me on Wiz, my quarter horse, and they have a little pony, and once in a while they're playing Indiana. But I think it's very important that they have fun with it. I don't want to push anything, and if they want to ride, then it's fine. If not, then it's fine as well.
Good. Well, there's so many choices for children these days, and I think having you there and the inspiration all around you, either they'll pick it up or they won't, right? And I think it's going to be fun watching them emerge as potential riders and see which, if they do take an interest, which sport they pick up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're still so little, so it's more playing than doing other things at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, got to have fun with it. Well, it's been great talking to you, Anky, and we wish you luck. We wish the children luck if they do pick up the riding, and we'll follow you all with interest. And this year, of course, big year. We'll be catching up with you hopefully when you come here for the World Equestrian Games, and talk to you again when you're over here in Kentucky. Well, good luck in Gothenburg this weekend.
Thank you.
Big weekend for you. I hope that the weather doesn't get in the way, because you've got some pretty severe weather up there in Sweden.
Yeah, and Göteborg has some snowstorms at the moment, I think, so that's not so nice.
Well, take care traveling. We'll catch up with you again as the season unfolds, and want to thank you again so much for spending time with us.
Okay, you're welcome.
Well, it's great to have her on the show, Debbie. It was the first time she'd been here, of course, and an awful lot going on in her life. She does, like you, just manages a very, very busy life. And, you're soon going to need a publicist and a personal secretary and an entourage yourself, by the sounds of things.
I'm not so sure about that, but I know Anky's got her hands full, especially with 2 young children, too.
Yes, they're so young, 3 and 5. Bless her heart, she really does have a plate full. So we'll be following with interest as the World Cup unfolds. We're getting closer now to the final, of course, as I said, at the end of March in the Netherlands. Any predictions there, Deb?
Oh, I really hate to say. I mean, anything can happen. So, no, I'm not going to make any predictions.
All right. Well, we won't put you on the spot, but I look forward to reviewing it with you in a few weeks' time.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we're going to take a short commercial break here, and we'll be back in just a second.
Glenn the Geek here, and we get many emails every week from people who really like the shows, and they ask how they can help support the Horse Radio Network. Well, you already do that by listening to the shows and by buying from all of our fantastic sponsors. And now you can add to that by supporting us directly and very easily. The next time you need something from Amazon, just go to any of our websites and click on the Amazon banner in the middle of the page. Then go on and buy your Amazon items. It won't cost you a penny more, just an extra click. But Amazon gives us a little bit back just because you clicked on the banner. Tell your family and friends to do the same thing. Every little bit helps us to keep giving you the quality equestrian programming that you have come to love. Thanks for listening.
Well, Deb, you remember a few weeks ago I started this new series trying to get people to send in their suggestions for great partnerships. They have to be retired, but of course there are so many of them that evoke wonderful memories in the sport, and we would love to revisit those. So please send those in to us, and with your ideas, send them to me, Chris at horseradionetwork.com. And as I said, Deb, there's tons of them, isn't there? When, especially, you and I can look back on quite a number of years in the sport, and some of those great partnerships. Does anyone really stick out for you that absolutely belongs right there?
I have to say Nicole Lupoff and Rembrandt. I think they were the first to really, for me anyway, really show harmony, and it was just such a pleasure to watch. He wasn't an easy horse, but yet slipped in and out of those gears like a Ferrari,
Yes.
I really enjoyed watching them. And there's been, like you said, there's been so many, but that one for me, I really did stand out.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Absolutely, they were just picture perfect in harmony, and he was such a pretty little horse, and they just went so well together, didn't they?
Yes, they really did. I mean, it was truly, for me, it was one of the nicest pictures to watch.
It really was, and no one's written in with that suggestion yet. So keep your ideas coming. Send them to me at chris@horseradionetwork.com, and we will take a look at revisiting some of those partnerships. We've got some ideas. I'm not going to give them away yet. They'll be coming up on the show in the next weeks and months. We'll slot those in. I think this is a series that can be ongoing because there are just so many wonderful, wonderful, great partnerships. And, I have to say, not to embarrass you, you're on the radio, so we won't see your blushes, Deb, but I don't know if you remember a few years ago I came and filmed you at working the mare Brentina at home.
I do remember that.
And I will never forget when you pulled her out and you jumped on her and we went in that indoor arena. And the instant harmony between you two, I don't think I've seen such sweet harmony. So it's almost, she didn't need you to tell her what you wanted to do. She got it. She said, "Okay, I know what you want, Mum."
Well, thank you. She was a very, very special horse. There is absolutely no doubt. And we did kind of have a great communication together. It was pretty fun to almost just think of something and the horse already reacted. So I really won't ever ride another horse like that in my lifetime. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, it's magic when you have that kind of understanding.
It sure is.
All right. Well, we're coming to our show notes this week. Deb, if you want to tell everybody, just remind them how they can reach us.
You can reach us at www.dressageradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio at Chris E. Stafford. Official social network Equestrian Life, www.equestrianlife.com. Contact us at chris@horseradionetwork.com. Voicemail at 270-803-0025.
Great. And, of course, we always want to thank our sponsors that make this show possible. And don't forget to visit our fan page, too, if you want to leave suggestions for the great partnerships. They have to be retired partnerships, and you can leave those suggestions on our Facebook page or email me. Well, that's about wraps it up for this week. I think it was a great show. Wonderful to have Anky on the show with us, Deb. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Anne Gribbons, of course, great friend of yours, and such a driving force in this sport of ours, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. It's great to have her on board. And, I love her ideas and her enthusiasm, and I do think that, she's going to make a good difference.
Absolutely. Certainly has a lot of drive and passion and energy, and I look forward to speaking with her next week here on the Dressage Radio Show. But until then, and it'll be a couple of weeks before you and I catch up again. Debbie, what are you going to be up to? You've got a show next week in L.A.,
yes, and then after that, I think I have a weekend, and I'm trying to plan a date with my husband.
Oh, how nice is that?
It'll be very nice, because we haven't been able to spend much time together, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, so kind of delayed Valentine's Day, is that?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, have fun, and good luck at the competition next week, Deb, and come back and see us in a couple of weeks' time.
I will. Thanks so much, Chris.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody, thanks for listening and enjoy your riding.
Bye-bye.